All right, AJ, you got bases loaded. You got the crowd on their feet. You got the rain falling. What an environment last night. Are you still buzzing?
Pretty awesome, wasn't it? I mean, and the right guy at the plate who's going to make you throw a strike. So that was pretty awesome. Ending to a really good game. Those are two beasts on the mound. Our guy was a little bit better, and we came up big with some good swing decisions at the end to get the win.
Is Gleyber Torres the guy that if you had a choice and you were picking one of your guys, and it's probably tough to do that, but in that situation, you mentioned it, right? He's going to make you throw a strike. Is he the guy that you feel most comfortable in that situation?
I think so, yes, because he's going to make you throw a strike, and he's not going to try to do too much. I think one little hidden part of last night was, Jahmai Jones not trying to play hero, Gleyber not trying to be these just dramatic kind of walk-off homer and these like scripts that get written in your head sometimes. Gleyber, of all of our guys, not going to overswing, generally not going to swing outside the zone, and he knows a single wins it there. Just happens to be he didn't throw him a strike to single, so he ended up walking. So that to me is like the balance that Gleyber brings to this lineup.
It's a good point, too, because he's sitting on 500 RBIs. It would have been really tempting to, hey, I'm going to go be, but he did exactly what he needed to do. Hey, AJ, as we chronicle this team, right, the ups and the downs, it looks like you guys have put that ugly stretch behind you. When you look back, what was the biggest key to getting out of that funk you guys were in?
Yeah, just staying the course. I know it's really hard in our sport to like not ride, the momentum either way when you're playing. But when I look around the league, Milwaukee, who's been the hottest team in baseball, gets swept by the Cubs yesterday. The Yankees hit 9 homers after kind of being told they can't hit. The Padres are in first place riding high, get swept by the Dodgers. They're back in second place. It's just a game that requires the ability to run the marathon. And so all that being said, I'm really proud that our guys just stayed the course. It helps when Riley Green warms up and Carp, is a huge impact. And Wetzel Perez took over one game. And then we just talked about Gleyber. Colt Keith has had an exceptional August. Like, it's somebody different every day, but we stayed the course mentally to just play our schedule, play series. We've now won, 4 series in a row, which is kind of what we're built on. We're built to win series, and that's what it takes to win deep into the season is win series. And so we just never really strayed away from our process, which I know is not always the emotional thing to say or necessarily even the fun thing to say, but it's the reality of 162. And we still have a lot more to go. Like, we have not qualified for the playoffs. We have not won our division. We have not done enough yet. So we'll get back at it today with the same mentality.
When you see Jack Flaherty go out there and pitch the way that he did, and he's pitched really good against good teams. And then we fair or unfair, we expect every time Skubal gets out there, it's a Skubal start, it's a Skubal win. As you get towards the end of August and September, how important is it for especially the veteran guys to be pitching their best and your veteran hitters to be getting their A game as you approach the postseason?
Yeah, it's important, but let me give you a little nugget. Like, we lost a couple Skubal starts down the stretch when we were 31-11 last September. So, like, it's not always one guy, or it's not always like we have to win that game. We need to win as many games as we can, but we need our players to play well and be ready. But I don't know which player is going to be the most important tonight. So when you're talking about Jack, like, spin and strikes, he's really good, and he can go through any lineup. As you said, he pitches pretty well against good teams. But it's about spin and it's about strikes with him. With Tarek, obviously, he has no room for error at people who watch him because he's so dominant and so good. I mean, I'm thinking back of like the time that I've been here. How many times I've been asked about a 7-inning, 3-run start like I was 6 days ago, and being asked like, is everything okay with Skubal? Like, think about that. Like, 7 innings, 3 runs. And I'm getting asked about, like, is he doing all right? Is he frustrated? And you're like, wow, what a different standard he pitches under. So yes, in the big picture, we need our best guys and our veteran guys but we also need our role players to be good. We also need our bullpen to pitch like we did last night. Will Vest was exceptional with the 2 innings and the emotional, ride at the back end of the game. So, I just don't try to pin it on one thing or another. We got to be good in every area to get where we want to get to and play as deep as we want to play.
Troy Melton, we've seen him come out of the bullpen. We've seen him be a starter. And other than that first start, like, it's been really fun to watch him grow and be really good on the mound. What is the plan for his young arm, as much as you could share with us, in terms of innings, and how do you get him to the postseason so he's still productive for you?
Exactly. I mean, he's a weapon, in any role. And we're trying to ride that fine line of a young pitcher who's piled up a lot of innings, who we want to be a factor down the stretch and into October. And we don't really know the role. I pitched him the other day. We were up 5 or 6. I got him up to help Jack. Jack got through his outing. I ended up pitching Melton in a 1-inning stint because I just don't want it to be 5 and 6 days, without him pitching. And in Chicago, I didn't expect him to go 5. He goes 5. Now that requires some rest. So it's a balancing act. He's up and available today. He will factor in pretty heavily this weekend if he doesn't pitch today. But I just see him in this hybrid role down the stretch where maybe 1 inning, maybe 2, 3 innings, maybe 5 innings might start. Like, we have a pitcher who can emotionally handle the unknown, and we're going to use it so that we can deploy his innings at the right time. I will have to pitch him occasionally, like the other day, in a sort of a non-leverage, I don't want to say not important, but it was 10-0, when he comes in. That's just part of keeping him fresh and, hopefully deploy him however we can when it matters the most. Like, there could be a game here in the next couple of days where starter goes 6 and I just hand it to Melton and he goes 7, 8, 9. Even with Finnegan and Vest up, like, that's a pretty valuable day where the next day we'll have our whole bullpen fresh. So we'll see how it plays out, but I'm always trying to find ways to get Troy in the game because of the stuff he's showing.
Talking to Tiger manager A.J. Hinch this morning, I don't want to gloss over something you said earlier. Colt Keith's having a hell of a month of August, leading the team in OPS. And here's a guy here leading off in a lot of these games. Just his development, what have you seen?
Yeah, I see a good player, a good hitter and someone who's still learning to grow and probably teaching us all a lesson to be a little patient, with guys that come up. And I love how he's taken some adjustments into the box and he's handling the leadoff spot well because he controls his own. He will walk. He's really good against right-handed pitching. And he's like the guy that's a hitter first. And, when I get asked about his power, I always cringe a little bit because I'm like, this guy's a hitter first. The power will come. And then he pops one the other day for a homer. If you're a homer first and not a good hitter, you probably can't hit in the leadoff spot. It doesn't help our balance. It's all or nothing, which is not something that he's ever been in the minor leagues or the big leagues. So he's just settling in around it. His game planning's getting better. His execution's getting better. His reaction to success failure is getting better. He's not even, 700 at-bats into his career, 800 at-bats into his career. That's a sign of good things to come for a developing young hitter.
I don't know when the right time to ask you this question is, and we may even ask you it again in the coming weeks, but the top 2 seeds, because last time we talked to you, we really felt like there was a sense of urgency that you had in what you were telling us. How much of it is a focus or discussion on getting one of those top 2 seeds, and how important is that to you guys?
That's important. Because you're just in a better position to set up your pitching and in a better position to get healthy and you don't want the stress of that you don't need, right? Like, everybody wonders, like, hey, do you want to play the 3 games? Like, not if we're losing. You don't want to lose a game to a good pitcher, and everybody has good players. So, listen, I think you try to win as many games and you keep that mentality. If you win as many as you can and you need it to be more than the others. And I don't know how much to stress it quite yet because, like, that finish line is still a month away and it's 30 plus games. And as we've seen in the previous 30, a lot can happen in those games. So it's not a failure if it doesn't happen. It isn't necessarily like the end all be all sell out until, the end and use your pitching so aggressively that you screw up a series that could be in October. But we're aware where we're at and we want to win it. We want to be the best team in the league. You want to be the best team in the league. You got to try to win every game. And if you end up in the 1 or 2 seed, you host a game and get a little bit of a break. That'll be told over the next 30 days.
Rob Manfred on Sunday Night Baseball brought up this idea of if we expand, we could reimagine some of these divisions. You normally have pretty thoughtful perspective on the league as a whole. What would you think if they started to rearrange these divisions?
I think it'd be good for everybody from a travel standpoint. You know, I know it's hard because like those of us that are in it every day, you know, talk about the travel and the grind and the, you know, just think of it next week. So we're in the middle of a playoff race. We are going to play on Sunday against Kansas City, emotional series against the Royals, hop on a plane, fly to Sacramento of all places, play 3 night games, and then we got to come back to Kansas City the next day. And we have an off day, but it's your body clock and everything changes, and then we play the Royals again. So these type of things that we can ease on the schedule, or we can create some regional rivalries and ease some of the burden of the schedule, probably good. You know, I also wonder about, you know, division winners. Do we create more divisions and create those heated rivalries that benefit you in the playoff stretch? So I'm all for tweaking things. You know, I am a traditionalist in my own right, but like, I'm not sure that we've have the perfect setup for the 30 teams. We go to 32 teams, and maybe there's one on the East, maybe there's one on the West, and you can create some regional activity. I think that's probably a good thing.
Who should be in the Tigers division?
Oof, that's a good question. You know, I mean, obviously the Chicago teams, the Cleveland, I think Toronto is a terrific rivalry with Windsor right next door to us. And, you know, I think those are probably the teams that first come to mind from a regional perspective, but they call Pittsburgh our natural rival, which I still have not understood, you know, why we play that home and home against them every year. And especially since they got Paul Skeens, I don't really need to be their natural rival.
Yeah, we're right there with you.
He's Tiger manager AJ Hinch. We appreciate your time as always.
You got it. Appreciate you guys.